The Vision just got destroyed by ghosts. The Vision, Paul Heyman's supposedly unstoppable faction that's terrorized Raw for months, just got absolutely annihilated by mystery attackers who appeared out of nowhere, systematically dismantled every single member including Bronson Reed, and left Bronn Breaker unconscious in a pool of his own blood. And here's what makes this absolutely infuriating: WWE is refusing to reveal who these attackers are, how they got past security, or why they targeted the Vision specifically. This wasn't a wrestling angle with clear motivations and storyline logic. This was chaos designed to create social media buzz without actually advancing any coherent narrative. Mystery attackers in masks beating people unconscious is the laziest booking imaginable when you don't bother explaining who they are, what they want, or why we should care beyond pure shock value. Bronn Breaker, WWE's supposed future star, is in the hospital right now with a confirmed concussion and potential additional injuries because WWE thought it would be good television to have masked figures jump him backstage and leave him bleeding and unresponsive. Not for any clear storyline purpose. Not to build toward an obvious payoff. Just because Triple H's creative team apparently thinks mystery equals compelling even when it's actually just confusing and frustrating. Hit that like button and subscribe to Wrestling News CC because I'm about to break down exactly what happened in this chaotic attack, why WWE's refusal to provide answers is terrible storytelling, and why this segment represents everything wrong with modern wrestling's obsession with shock moments over actual narrative coherence. Let me walk you through this disaster because the execution was somehow even more frustrating than the concept. Raw's main event segment featured the Vision in the ring cutting their typical arrogant promo about dominance, Paul Heyman doing his verbose speeches, Bronson Reed looking menacing, the usual formula we've seen dozens of times. Then the lights cut, total darkness, and when they come back up, there are 6 figures in all black surrounding the ring, masks covering their faces, no entrance music, no announcement, just standing there like they materialized out of thin air. The Vision tries to assess the threat. They're outnumbered, but they're used to that. They've overcome numbers disadvantages before through coordination and brutality. So they prepare to fight, expecting a typical brawl where they eventually prevail because that's how WWE has booked them for months. What happens instead is a massacre. These mystery attackers move with military precision. They don't brawl, they execute coordinated strikes that target specific body parts. One attacker takes out Bronson Reed's legs with a chop block. Another hits a DDT on the concrete to one of the other Vision members. A third delivers a super kick so stiff it legitimately knocks someone out. Within 2 minutes, every member of the Vision except Bronn Breaker is down. Not selling. Actually hurt from strikes and moves that look disturbingly real in their impact. Bronn tries to fight back. Throws punches at multiple attackers. Shows the intensity we've come to expect from him. But he's outnumbered 6-1, and these aren't normal wrestlers. They're moving like trained fighters with a specific mission to neutralize the Vision as efficiently as possible. 2 attackers grab Bronn's arms. A third delivers a knee strike to his midsection that doubles him over. Then they execute what looks like a practiced combination. One attacker hits a backdrop driver while another simultaneously delivers a curb stomp, creating a double impact that sends Bronn crashing to the mat with sickening force. Bronn is out. Not moving. Blood visible on his face from where his head hit the mat. And the mystery attackers just stand over the Vision's broken bodies for a moment before the lights cut again. When they come back up, the attackers are gone, vanished as mysteriously as they appeared, and medical staff is rushing to attend to the Vision members who are legitimately injured. Here's why this segment is so problematic. First, the complete lack of explanation. Who were these attackers? Why did they target the Vision? What's their endgame? WWE provided 0 answers, apparently expecting fans to just accept mystery attackers without any context or motivation. That's not compelling storytelling, that's lazy booking that creates confusion instead of intrigue. Second, the real injuries. Bronn Breaker is confirmed to have suffered a concussion from that double impact finish. Other Vision members are dealing with various bumps and bruises from strikes that were stiffer than normal. WWE created a segment where people got legitimately hurt, and for what? A shocking moment that doesn't advance any clear storyline? Third, the disappearance of the attackers. How did 6 people in masks get into the arena, coordinate this attack, and then vanish without security catching even one of them? WWE expects us to believe their security is so incompetent that masked assailants can just materialize and disappear at will? That doesn't create mystery, it creates plot holes that make the entire WWE universe look poorly run and illogical. The locker room reaction is reportedly confused more than anything. Wrestlers don't know who the attackers are. They don't know if they should be concerned for their own safety. And they're frustrated that WWE creative apparently didn't bother explaining this angle to anyone before executing it. That lack of communication creates real problems. Because now wrestlers don't know if they're supposed to reference this attack in promos, if they should act concerned about mystery attackers potentially targeting them, or if they should just ignore it until WWE decides to provide actual information. Paul Heyman, after being checked by medical staff, cut a backstage promo demanding answers and threatening consequences for whoever was behind this attack. But even Heyman, one of the best talkers in wrestling history, couldn't make this angle sound compelling because there's nothing to work with. How do you build heat against attackers with no identity, no stated motivation, and no clear connection to existing storylines? Here's what makes this even more frustrating: WWE has done this exact angle multiple times over the past few years, and it never works. Mystery attackers show up, beat people down, disappear for weeks while fans speculate. Then when the reveal finally happens, it's always underwhelming because the payoff can never match the mystery buildup. Remember when mystery attackers targeted Roman Reigns and it turned out to be Rowan with a wrench? Remember Retribution's mysterious appearances that led to one of the most failed faction debuts in history? WWE keeps doing these mystery attacker angles despite them consistently disappointing fans. Why? Because Triple H's creative team apparently believes that creating short-term social media buzz is more important than building long-term coherent narratives that actually pay off satisfyingly. Let's talk about what this does to Bronn Breaker specifically. He's supposed to be WWE's next big star, the future of the company, someone who should be protected and built carefully. Instead, he just got knocked unconscious by people we don't even know, suffered a legitimate concussion, and is now sidelined for at least 2 to 3 weeks during crucial WrestleMania season. That's not building a star, that's wasting a star on a storyline that might not even involve him going forward. Because for all we know, these mystery attackers aren't specifically targeting Bronn, they're targeting the Vision as a faction. Which means Bronn just got hurt as collateral damage in someone else's storyline. That's terrible booking for someone you're supposedly building as a future main eventer. Here are the possible explanations for who these attackers could be, and why none of them are satisfying. Theory: it's a new faction debuting, ****. If so, why not just reveal them immediately? What does keeping them masked accomplish except delaying the actual story for weeks? And how does attacking the Vision specifically build this new faction if we don't know their motivation? It's returning wrestlers seeking revenge, ****, against the Vision specifically? Why? What history do they have that would justify this level of coordinated assault? And if it is returning wrestlers, why the masks? Just show us who they are and start building the actual feud. Its current roster members in disguise, ****. This is probably the most likely, but also the most frustrating because it means WWE is having wrestlers beat up their colleagues while hiding their identities for no reason except creating mystery. That's not clever, that's just unnecessarily complicated. WWE hasn't decided who the attackers are yet, ****. This is the worst possibility, but also very plausible given WWE's history. They created a mystery angle without planning the reveal, hoping to figure it out later based on fan reaction. That's not storytelling, that's improvisation disguised as creative vision. Regardless of which explanation is true, the end result is the same: fans are confused rather than intrigued, the Vision looks weak despite months of building them as dominant, and Bronn Breaker is injured for a storyline that might not even involve him meaningfully. Here's what should have happened if WWE wanted to shake up the Vision's dominance: have an established faction or group of wrestlers challenge them, build it over several weeks with clear motivations, have actual matches where the Vision's weaknesses get exposed, create a coherent narrative that builds toward a satisfying payoff. Instead, we got masked attackers appearing from nowhere, beating everyone up with no explanation, and disappearing into thin air while leaving legitimate injuries in their wake. That's not good television, that's frustrating television that makes fans feel like their time investment doesn't matter because WWE isn't committed to actually explaining what they're watching. My prediction? This mystery drags out for 3 to 4 weeks while WWE decides who the attackers actually are. They'll make sporadic appearances, maybe attack other people to keep the angle alive. Then the reveal will be underwhelming, probably wrestlers we already know doing a heel turn or a faction that doesn't have strong motivation for specifically targeting the Vision. Fans will be disappointed. The angle will fizzle, and WWE will act surprised that another mystery attacker storyline didn't work despite this being a pattern they repeat constantly. The social media reaction is mixed. Some fans are genuinely intrigued by the mystery and speculating wildly about who the attackers could be. But many fans are expressing frustration that WWE did another mystery angle without learning from past failures, and that Bronn Breaker got legitimately injured for what might end up being a throwaway storyline. Here's the fundamental problem: WWE confuses confusion with intrigue. They think that not explaining things makes stories more compelling, but that's only true if there's a plan for eventual satisfying revelation. If you're just creating mystery for mystery's sake without a clear endgame, you're not being mysterious, you're being incoherent. Drop your thoughts. Who do you think the mystery attackers are? Is this mystery intriguing or just confusing? And should WWE have protected Bronn Breaker better instead of having him get knocked out by unidentified assailants? Comments below, because the wrestling world is divided on whether this is compelling storytelling or lazy booking. This is Wrestling News CC, where we demand coherent narratives instead of shock value chaos. Subscribe for continued coverage of this mystery angle and whether WWE actually has a plan or is just making it up as they go. The Vision got destroyed. Bronn Breaker is unconscious in the hospital. Mystery attackers vanished without explanation. And WWE expects us to be excited about not knowing what we just watched or why it matters. That's not good storytelling, that's creative laziness dressed up as mystery. And until WWE learns that explaining motivations and building coherent narratives matters more than creating viral moments, we're stuck in this cycle of disappointing mystery angles that never pay off satisfyingly. Tell us who they are. Tell us why they attacked. Give us something to invest in beyond pure speculation. Otherwise, this is just another example of WWE wasting talent and viewer patience on angles they haven't properly planned. #WWERA #mystery attackers #Bronn Breaker #The Vision